This is a 2006 BMW 330xi 6-speed manual. This has a 3.0 liter engine that powers the vehicle, giving it 255 horsepower at 6,600 RPMs and 220 foot-pound torque at 2,750 RPMs. The 0 to 60 in this car is in 5.5 seconds, and it gives it a quarter of 14.2. To give a reference, a 2017 BMW 330i has a 0 to 60 of 5.4 seconds and a quarter of 14 flat. So the two cars are basically identical 11 years later. Fuel economy is actually rated at 18 miles in the city and 27 miles on the highway for this 06. In comparison to 2017, is down 7 horsepower, but returns 23 miles to the gallon in the city and 34 miles to the gallon on the highway. But who really cares about the extra spends on gas mileage just when you're saving 30 grand? Now, as you look here, this trunk is actually pretty big considering the back seat is so large. You can put a decent amount of luggage in there. You look here, you can see that the door crams or the crams in the back here are very clean, no rust, no leaves. That's an indication the car has been very well taken care of. And so again, even if you look around the top, there's no rust areas. This is a good sign, meaning this car has probably been garage kept. You don't have to worry about rusting areas coming too soon. If there's nothing in these crammed areas around here, that's again a really good sign. And so now we're looking at the engine bay, and unfortunately the video was a little messed up, so I couldn't give you a clip of what the engine sounded like. It purred like a kitten. I'm showing you basically that it is running. I'm actually going to get ready to put my hand on the motor just to kind of show you that there's no vibration, no heat. Of course the car is cold, but no vibration from the engine at all. It is very stable, very good for an 11-year-old car. Of course, it looks like it's been driven because it has been. Now we're going to go ahead and climb into the back seat. This is a back seat test. Again, I am 6'2", and I am long-legged, so if I can get in this back seat of this compact car, that is good, which I am able to accomplish. Now, if you look in this back seat, you notice I actually have a little room to spare. My knees are away from the seat. I actually have some area to move to the side there, so it's not like my knees are touching the door panel at all, which is something, again, interesting for someone that has long legs. And again, we're going to now flip over to the other side of the vehicle, and I'm sitting in that seat, and you'll get to see my headroom. If you notice, I have plenty headroom at the top, right there. My head isn't hitting the side, or I don't get a claustrophobic feel, which is, again, for a compact car, something that I did not expect to see. Again, I had some audio issues, so I'm talking over myself. All right, and so now we're going to climb into the front seat. Again, I haven't moved the seat at all. I'm just showing you the door cram areas and how clean they are. That's something you want to pay attention to, a neglected area a lot. Now, you know, as we look at this car again, we can really see just how clean it is from all aspects. Now we're going to take a seat in and see where I land. And as you can see, I still have room. I'm able to climb in, and I have knee room. And we're looking at this interior, which is actually a very nice interior. We see the manual there. We see the steering wheel mounted controls, nice gauges laid out right there in front of us, and again, just a nice mature dash. The materials in this car look very, very nice, and I think that they hold up pretty well. And the shifter is right there. It's actually a very close ratio shifter. It's a short throw to me in the vehicle, not sloppy by any means. But as you look, you know, you don't have a navigation system, but you really don't need that in this car because this was back in 06. Navigations in cars weren't that great. So you probably would be using your phone anyway. So you don't really need that in this car. But again, just looking around, you can kind of see the architecture, the way they put this thing together. It flows. It seems open to me, at least. It feels nice and open. And it gives you a good feel all around the vehicle. So now we're actually getting ready to start the vehicle and put my foot on the clutch and making sure it's in neutral. And then I'm going to hit the start button and the car will start up just fine. Again, I apologize one more time that we had some problems with this part of the video with the audio. But as we see, you can access different menus. Interesting, I did not see a temperature gauge, which is a little alarming for a car guy on this car. I'm just showing you again the buttons on the steering wheel, that they're hard plastic buttons. That's a very good thing, because that's a very durable button instead of a soft touch that usually by this time has worn away. But yeah, there is no temperature gauge on the vehicle. There is a miles per gallon, which is interesting, instead of a temperature gauge. And there is, of course, the fuel tank. But you have to go through the menus, which I'm trying to do right now, to show you if I can find it. And I believe you can. If you look through it a little bit more aggressively, you should be able to find what temperature your engine is operating at. And again, I'm just going over, that we do have an NCD dash system. And of course, the climate control was set up at 83 degrees, which is way too hot. So you just adjust those down. You want to also pay attention to press the auto button so the system regulates itself. And by here at the bottom, you have heated seats, as you can see both. I don't know what that one is in particular. But this is an interior. Again, if you look up, you do have the sunroof option. All the buttons are very, very clean. So let's, without further ado, and after looking at everything, let's go ahead and take this vehicle out for a drive and see how mature it is actually on the real road. This engine is very taut and very nice. And on this road here, it's very, very well behaved. I mean, it's incredibly, very, very neutral, balanced, even with the different cambering of the road and the changes in the tilt. The wheel is very firm, no dead spot at all. So you don't have a dead spot. I want to put this thing on auto. Very important. A lot of people don't understand that when you're dealing with climate controls that you want to set it to a certain temperature and leave it there. A lot of people turn the fans on and different things, and the car just behaves very strangely. And they end up wearing out the buttons around the climate control area because they're always going back and forth. You got to let the system do its own thing. So you're pretty much good to go. Another thing I have to say, that's so the cruise control is on the left side below the turn signal stop. That is something that you have to get used to, because I'm always reaching and touching that and instead of me actually hitting the turn signal, I'm hitting the cruise control and vice versa. That is something just a little bit different, something that you would have to get used to. I don't know if I would call that annoying. I haven't driven the car long enough yet to say. Now, just let's talk about for a second some of the feels that we have in this car. Around this corner, very nice, well balanced. I see why people dig these 3 Series. It makes a good sound. It's very athletic. Gives you a really nice experience. I'm gonna pop it down here. Go around this corner. Oh yeah, definitely. Well behaved. Very, very well behaved. Very, very well behaved. This vehicle feels very tight. We got to remember, this is an 11-year-old vehicle. 11 years old, and soon to be 12 years old. And it drives, I want to say, really better than some newer cars that I've been in. That's a testament to BMW. That's a testament to this vehicle. I have to honestly say that I understand why people choose this route. I mean, this car is very sporty. It's very driver-oriented. I love the red gauges. Oh, yeah. They are nice. That's something that I have to say. And very nice round analog gauges. It's something that will never go out of style. This style right here will never go out of style. And it didn't take me long, but I understand the clutch work a lot better. It doesn't, in certain cars, Audi Volkswagen Group, the clutch travels a lot longer. You can feel the motion of the car a little bit more, and then you add speed. It creeps, and then you can go. In this vehicle, that's not so much the case. It's very precise. Think of 3 Series as precise. That's what I would say the most. And again, I'm turning pretty good gas mileage. Everything is working very, very well, I would have to say. Everything is going very, very well. I will say that it does get some getting used to with the controls here on the side for the windows. They seem very, very far away, and I can see the mistake happening where you're trying to reach for the front windows and you actually engage the back windows. The ergonomics are a little bit strange there. But besides that, I have very decent A-pillars. There's not a lot that can be lost. A lot of these new vehicles with their coupe-like design have a lot of issues with the A-pillars being a lot wider and bigger, which pedestrians can just kind of come out all of a sudden and poke out at you, and you're like, whoa, where'd they come from? I want to say the steering feel, there is a dead-on center feel from the steering. There's no slack, no play. It's very precise. The vehicle definitely has very good road manners. Even with the cambering of the road, you don't waft off, and the car doesn't. Oh, there goes that signal light again. Makes a good sound. Makes a very good sound. But it inspires confidence, and it handles the road very well. You get a good amount of steering feel out of the vehicle, and at the same time, it's not so much that the car starts following all the grooves in the road. That's very, very important. This is, again, a comfortable car. I have to say, it's actually comfortable. There's nothing on my leg here that I have to keep resting on constantly that wears me out or wears out my leg, even for this size of a vehicle. But I gotta say, this interior and this feel, it makes me feel like it's going to last. I mean, 11 years in, and it really is just holding up very decently. You have a few areas where you have some scuffs and some things coming up, but who doesn't buy these cars and know how to go onto eBay and replace certain things that need to be replaced? I mean, you know, people always want to deal with, maybe if you have like a switch or something that a little bit of the rubber has been rubbed off and they think it's terrible, and they don't understand how cheap it is to fix some of those things. I mean, those parts are available. Use shifter knobs, all your wear areas are there. But on this vehicle, I'm going to say this again, they put the most used buttons with the right type of texture, the hard plastic texture, which is incredibly important because I can see that nothing is worn off here on the steering wheel, and those are the buttons that are probably the most used. I'm actually very surprised with this vehicle. You know, I thought that this vehicle was going to be another BMW, that it was just a fanboy car. I am not a BMW fan. I am a Mercedes and Porsche guy, as you can tell. But the car, again, the manners of it were very tight. What would I sum up with this vehicle? I would say this vehicle is very athletic, it's very tight, and very precise. Now, you want to think about, when you're thinking about your BMW, some of the cost with maintenance, right? That's my big thing. I think that's my biggest thing with BMWs. But you want to remember that at this price point, you can afford to set aside a few dollars every month for repair bills. Now, some of the repair bills that you'll come in contact with are, for instance, the starter. The starter is a $118 part. However, where it's located, it costs a little bit more money. So it actually costs about, from a dealership, about $1,500 for the starter to be replaced. Why? Because you have to take off the intake, and you have the intake gaskets that you have to replace, and the labor that goes involved is quite a bit. So that's one of the things. Also, the battery is another concern. The battery on the cars, they have this little control unit on top of there that basically controls the battery's usage properly. If that goes bad, it drains the battery. BMW batteries are not cheap. They actually cost a little bit of money. I would not go to AutoZone and replace the battery. I would definitely go to a BMW dealership or get a qualified BMW battery, which can run you well over $200. So you want to really pay attention to some of your cost prices to do certain things, and think about the amount of maintenance or the amount of labor involved in that maintenance if you're not willing to take on some of those tasks yourself. But again, when we talk about getting a quality vehicle, I mean, something as low as these mileage, at 80,000 miles, this car is a brand new vehicle. It's something you definitely want to consider when you're looking at your next Flashback Autos. So again, here's this vehicle, and here's the information again. This is a BMW 3 Series 2006. It is a 330xi. As you can see, again, this doesn't state the mileage, but as we showed, it's 80,891 miles at this point. Again, this is the dealership that has this vehicle. This is a 5-star, again, I'm going to say 5-star Google dealership. All their vehicles actually come from trade-ins from the BMW of Ann Arbor dealership. And of course, they have great reviews. So if you're interested in this vehicle, go ahead and call them at the phone number 734-369-4714. Hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you think or what you would like to see next. Take care.